That's a big thing.
Yeah.
I did that the other day. I had my daughter and all of her friends out. I took them all to Applebee's for a birthday. And they were all sitting there in the waiting area, and they were all on their individual cell phones. And this was making me nuts because they were out together, you know, to have a celebration. And we have a tradition in our family that when we sit down at a restaurant, we play cards. So I always have a deck of cards in my purse. And the girls were all on their cell phones, but as soon as we got a table, it was funny because my daughter is the one who said, "Oh, Mom, did you bring the cards?" And I said, "I did. Put away the phones." And I certainly don't want to reprimand other people's kids, but I was so glad they put them away, and we played cards, and they talked. Because even friends, they weren't talking. They were just sitting there with the phones in front of them. But I admit I find it relaxing. If I have 5 minutes alone, I play, you know, Bejeweled or, you know,
Word with Friends,
something. I can't blame them for doing it.
I also find that the video games are very big. I mean, you know, the
boys.
Xbox, the PlayStation, and I sometimes say to them when they, you know, have friends over, I'm like, okay, guys, you have 10 minutes. I know you go out, throw a football. We have a big yard. We all have big yards, whatever yards. And I have to encourage them to go out to play in the park. And they do, and they're athletic, my boys.
Yeah, they are very athletic.
But, I mean, it's still that Xbox or PlayStation, whatever is there.
Right.
And I said to them, you know, when we were young, we didn't have that. I mean, God, Atari was
I know.
that was like the big thing. But now they have all the
exciting.
games. But I do feed into it because birthdays and Christmas, I will admit,
What do
on
you
the
buy?
GameStop, you know, first game out that they want or the gift certificate. So.
And not for nothing. Now, it's warm today. But we had a horrible winter. And weren't you glad you had video games?
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, I guess, for our parents, we had television. And then when our kids were little, I remember I was so excited that we had a VCR. And we had a video I could put in. I mean, I would drive down to Florida with a TV and a VCR and all those big discs because it kept the baby quiet.
Yep.
So let's be honest. I mean, we're the ones who, from the time they were little, would hand them some sort of an electronic toy, and now we say, "Don't play with that."
True.
My oldest son learned to read that way, though. We had books on tape. He would follow along with the book. Yes, yes. I was at the library constantly. When I realized, you know, that I was keeping scholastic books in business, I said, okay, you know, we have to stop.
Right.
So I'd get books on tape at the library, and he would follow along, and the next thing, he was just reading. It was wonderful.
It is. No, it's wonderful for them, and it's wonderful for us for built-in babysitter, let's be honest. I mean, now when we go on road trips, everybody's got their little thing going. There's no, how much longer? Are we going to be there? They're streaming Netflix in the back seat. They don't care. They're hoping we never get there because they're watching a movie. So, I mean, there's things that are very convenient for us, but then I guess I get annoyed when, like you said, it's a beautiful day out. Go outside. You know, play in the yard, throw a football, do something. You know, I guess I don't mind when they do it together. Maybe I'm deluded into thinking that it's a friend thing. I was never fond of the child who plays the video game alone for hours and hours, at least if they're playing it, and maybe, you know, nowadays it's the weirdest thing. I find it the strangest thing. They're playing it alone with their friend.
That's strange.
Yeah, I've
Isn't
seen
that
that.
strange?
It takes the place of a play date. It's very weird.
It does. Everybody goes to their own house after school, but like Connor will walk in the door after school and say, "Mom, I can't talk now. I got to log on to, I don't know, Minecraft." And he's playing with Joseph, who's 5 miles away in his house, but they're somehow playing together. And I guess that's nice, but you know, now the kid doesn't come over anymore because it's just as easy to sit. I don't know. There's
Play online, yeah.
something weird about that. Or the Xbox, they have those
The
headsets.
headsets, yeah.
And
My
they play
boys
with
have
their
that.
friends.
The microphone.
I mean, I try to think that it's a social thing, but I don't know. It's a little strange.
Well, it's a different world for them than it was for us.
Well, that's true, because we had none of this, and Mom would just say, "Go out."
Yeah.
And
And
go
you'd go
out.
and you'd call for your friend, and maybe they were done with chores, and maybe they weren't, and then you'd go to the next kid's house, and you'd call for them.
And
or
at some point, your mother would just stand on the stoop and scream, "Dinner!" And you'd hear it from 3 blocks away, and you'd come running.
yeah,
It is.
Or you
It's-
had to be in by a certain time when the street lights came on. That was it. Playtime
Right.
was over.
Right.
It is a totally different world.
Yeah.
Is it better?
I think that they've lost some of the creativity. Where my kids, if they don't, you know, especially a couple of years ago, I'm bored, if they didn't have the video games going or the computer, you know, and I'd be like, go outside, kick a ball. I mean, like, I think that we program them with the play dates and the organized soccer and the organized baseball
well, that's a whole
and
other
the
thing,
technology.
yes.
And I think, like, sometimes the creativity's lost. Like, it's just like, you know, go make something, go,
Right.
you know, think of a game you can play. So I think that.
I'm kind of glad when they decide to build a fort in the basement
Right.
with all the pillows and blankets. At least, you know, they're doing something. Of course, the basement's a mess, but you know. But I think there are good things. Like, for instance, when I was 14, I was a babysitter. As, you know, we were all babysitters, I'm sure we were 14. And I remember distinctly that I would go, you know, walk 3 blocks away to somebody's house, and they would say, all right, we should be home around midnight or so, and they'd walk out the door and leave me there with like 3 children, and I had no idea where these people were. And if something ever happened, I mean, thank God nothing ever happened, but if something ever happened, I would have called my own mother. But other than leaving a note on the kitchen table to meet me at North Shore, there was really nothing I could do. And I guess as a parent, I look back and think, I can't believe I would never leave my child without giving the phone number to the babysitter.
And they never called to check on their kids either. They were just like, we're out.
And if they came home an hour late or 2 hours late or
You
whatever,
didn't worry either.
what did you do? You had to just, you didn't do anything.
No, you said, oh, I guess I'm making some extra money tonight.
Okay, now I know our kids are, you know, teenagers now, but could you imagine leaving them with somebody and not leaving a cell phone number?
No.
Even the school has your cell phone number.
Yes, they asked that.
I mean,
right
not
away.
for nothing, Connor School has me on speed dial.
Yeah, it's true.
I can't imagine them not calling me. So I think that there's good stuff about it. Even now when the kids go out, Kathleen goes to Manhattan for the day. I could call her, or at least I know she could call me. Mom, I got off at the wrong train station, or I, you know, once every 2 hours we'll just shoot a text. Having fun? Everything okay? I don't know. I can't imagine her just going out for the day and be like, yeah, I guess I'll be home around 9.
Right.
And not knowing. That's kind of freaky to me now. But we did it.
Yeah.
And we're all here.
Yeah.